What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90 for the final week of the Premier League. Week 38, it is here. Top 4 is basically decided, relegation has been decided, but the title remains undecided to the last day. Before we get started, I want to give a massive shout out to Not Lico 2 for leaving his predictions down in the comments below. I loved seeing all your comments on the previous video, all the nice comments, all your predictions. It was awesome, so drop your comments down below as well for this video. Now, week 38, it is going to be intense, but first of all, let's take a little look back at week 37, which decided relegation and pretty much decided top 4. So we'll look back at my predictions. The first game, Everton versus Burnley. I believe my only correct score prediction for the week. I predicted a 2-0 win to Everton. It was a 2-0 win to Everton, so good there. Bournemouth versus Tottenham. A match that at the time could have brought Tottenham out of the top 4 had Arsenal or Man United taken advantage of that. Tottenham lost 1-0 to Bournemouth with 2 red cards, Son and Foyt. But the 1-0 loss for Tottenham, luckily for them, did not drag them out of the race, with Arsenal and Man United dropping points elsewhere. West Ham versus Southampton, I predicted a 2-1 win to West Ham. It was more convincing, a 3-0 win. Wolves versus Fulham, I predicted a 2-0 win. It was a 1-0 win to Wolves, so Wolves looking nailed on for that 7th spot, and should Man City win the FA Cup, looking good for the Europa League qualifying place. Cardiff versus Crystal Palace, I predicted a 1-0 win to Palace. The winning margin was correct, but it was a 3-2 5-goal thriller. Newcastle versus Liverpool, I predicted a 2-0 win to Liverpool. They made it a little bit more difficult for themselves. A late winner, 3-2 win for them. Rafa Benitez almost getting the better of them, and to be fair, it looked like Newcastle deserved at least a point out of that game, but Liverpool, they kept on fighting. One of the more impressive performances of the weekend, Chelsea versus Watford. I predicted a 2-1 win to Chelsea. It was actually a 3-0 win to Chelsea, so very well done there. Huddersfield versus Man United. I predicted Huddersfield would get the goal that they did, but I predicted Man United would win 4-1. That's funny, isn't it? But I don't know what's worse, predicting that Man United would win 4-1 with them drawing 1-1 to Huddersfield, or predicting that Arsenal would beat Brighton 3-0 and them drawing 1-1 with Brighton. It was a very frustrating game to watch. Arsenal should have won that game, but they didn't, and pretty much destroyed their chance of getting in the top 4. Tottenham would have to get beaten by Everton, and Arsenal would have to win their game against Burnley away, and they'd have to overturn like an 8-goal difference deficit. So, although it is possible for Arsenal to finish in the top 4, Tottenham would have to have their worst loss of the season, and Arsenal would have to have their best win, I'm pretty sure. So, very unlikely there. And then Man City Leicester, I don't know why I predicted a high-scoring one. I predicted a 3-1 win to Man City, but everything over the last, 10 weeks or so has seen Man City get close, grind-out wins. A 1-0 win here. It was always going to be tight. I don't know why I predicted such a high amount of goals, but Man City got the win nonetheless. And obviously, in regards to Man City, we have got them in the first game here for week 38, Brighton versus Manchester City. Now, ever since I started this channel, I said Man City would win the league, win the Premier League this year, and that they'd win 3 out of the 4 trophies. I couldn't tell you which one they were going to drop in terms of the quadruple. I did say they were the favourites to win the Champions League, but obviously they're out of that. I said City would win the Premier League and win 3 trophies. And if they beat Watford in the FA Cup final and do win the Premier League like I've predicted throughout, even when Man City were 10 points behind, I predicted that they would win the league. When Man City were 4 points behind, and I did my Premier League final table prediction from the mid-season, I had loads of comments of people saying to me that Liverpool would win the league, and they might still do it, but I said that Man City would win the league, and if they do, and they do win the FA Cup final, I was correctly right in saying that they would win the Premier League and 3 trophies, which would be kind of a cool prediction. But for this one, I think they've escaped the potential banana skin, really, in Leicester with that 1-0 win, thanks to an absolute banger from Vincent Kompany. Definitely one of the contenders for goal of the season, if not, then probably Townsend's strike against Man City that saw them lose against Palace. That is definitely up there, but a very, very good goal. And you gotta love Vincent Kompany's comments. You know, it must suck for him, you know, everyone around him telling him not to shoot, telling him to pass. He thought, screw it, I'm gonna shoot, and he got his reward, and what a goal it was. But Brighton, Man City. Brighton, part of me thinks the way they played against Arsenal and dug in, they could make it difficult for Man City, because they managed to draw with Arsenal away from home, and Arsenal's record at the Emirates is decent. So maybe if Brighton really parked the bus and did it well, and Man City felt the pressure, because you could tell Man City were feeling the pressure against Leicester, then there's a potential for a draw here. You know, Liverpool aren't out of the title yet. Obviously, they're winning the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona, which was phenomenal. Definitely gives them something more exciting for this season to look forward to. But I see Man City coming away with a 2-0 win. I hope in a way that there can be some drama. You know, imagine Man City draw but Liverpool also draw against Wolves. You know, there could be some drama on the final day here, which is what I'm excited to see and what I'm looking forward to. But I'm going to go with the Man City win here. The next game is Burnley versus Arsenal. Now, this game could change massively depending on how the result in the Europa League semi-final goes. The second leg hasn't been played yet at the time of recording. Obviously, Arsenal have a 2-goal lead travelling away to Valencia. Valencia are a unit at home, and Arsenal are not very good away. However, they did win 1-0 against Napoli away from home, which Liverpool actually failed to do. And funny stat, obviously, if Liverpool go on to win the Champions League, they would have lost to Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Napoli, and Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League, and they could still go on and win the whole thing, which is absolutely phenomenal. But I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw here. I just think ideally Arsenal would have beaten Valencia, or even if they lose to Valencia, will have had enough goals in the first leg to get through to the final of the Europa League, and then won't have to worry about trying to overturn an 8-goal deficit with Tottenham to get into the top 4, because they'll be focused on the Europa League final. I can see Burnley digging in and putting in a performance for their fans at home, and Arsenal, who aren't that great away, just struggling to really get the win that in the end won't really make a difference to them. Maybe the difference between finishing 5th and 6th, but if you're in the Europa League final, they won't really care too much about that. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw with the hopes that Arsenal are in the Europa League final. If they're not, kind of a really bad end to the season for the Gunners. The next game is Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. Now, Palace have been playing well. They are actually, I think, the top team in terms of form in Europe's top leagues, behind Man City away from home. I think drawn with RB Leipzig. They've had, I believe, 16 points out of the possible 18 away from home in the last 6, which is phenomenal for them. I'm going to go for them to beat Bournemouth here. I'm going to go for a 2-1, ending Bournemouth's season in not the best way. It could have been better given the start they had, but Palace really picking it up towards the end and actually, you know, doing decently well, looking good for next season. The next game, Fulham versus Newcastle. This, of course, being Fulham's last game in the Premier League before getting relegated to the Championship. Newcastle have been looking very, very good. Rafa Benitez, with the resources he's had, has been doing very, very well with them. He's a very good manager, and I think he'll set this game up for them to win. I think it's going to happen. A 2-0 away win to Newcastle to send Fulham back down with a poor result. The next game, Leicester versus Chelsea, a game that could have had way greater implications had Arsenal not picked up 1 point in the final 12, or Man United not lost so many of their last few games. But actually, Chelsea are home and dry, already guaranteed a top 4 finish. This could have been This looked like a really good fixture for Arsenal fans for Chelsea to have on the last day, because I could see Chelsea dropping points. But Arsenal and Man United have bottled it. Well done. I'm still going to go for a 2-2 draw here. Obviously, Chelsea, they'll hopefully, if they get through against Eintracht Frankfurt, will have their eye on the Europa League final. They've got top 4, so it doesn't matter too much for them. They might rotate and rest the squad. You never know. And Leicester are a very decent team at home. So I'm going to go for a draw between the two teams. I think that's a fair result. I'm going to go for 2-2. I think it's going to be action either end. Leicester are looking good. Brendan Rodgers is looking like the right man for the job. And yeah, a 2-2 draw in this one. The next game, Liverpool versus Wolves. This and the Brighton Man City game, obviously the only real games that matter at this point. And I am going to go for a Liverpool win. And how crazy would it be if Liverpool were to finish on 97 points and come second in the Premier League? Obviously, they had the Champions League final to think about, which is awesome for them. Their season doesn't end here, even if Man City do win the Premier League. But it is possible. Stranger things have happened in football than Man City dropping points to Brighton. I'm pretty sure Man City drew 0-0 with Huddersfield last year. So Brighton are more than capable of doing that. I think Liverpool are going to win this game. Obviously, Wolves have been taking points from the top 6 this season. I think that run ends here. Obviously, they beat Fulham last week, and they've been traditionally very bad against the bottom teams, you know, losing twice to Huddersfield in the league. But I think Liverpool are actually going to beat Wolves here and end that curse. They have to win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. Liverpool want to get goals. Wolves will want to prove themselves. I think they'll score on a counter-attack or something. But I think Liverpool will get the better of them and hope that Manchester City will slip up against Brighton. And how crazy would that be if Liverpool win the league? It's just so much riding on this. I think realistically, I could see Man City Liverpool winning again, which is phenomenal, and Man City winning the league. But what a title race it has been. The next game is Manchester United versus Cardiff. Now, Man United players, they're probably on the beach already. It's been a bad season for them, to be honest. There was the high of the Paris Saint-Germain game, the tie in the Champions League, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's run, and as soon as he's been appointed permanent manager, everyone's relaxed. they've sat back and chilled, and it's not been great for them. Luckily, I think they are going to get the better of Cardiff at Old Trafford. They have to. It's almost like, although they technically have nothing to play for, they can't get into a top 4 spot. They don't have any other games really to play that I know of in this season. But it's a last game at Old Trafford to try and win back some love from the fans, because a lot of fans are disappointed with Manchester United, and if they don't get a result against Cardiff at home, that'll be dreadful for them. So I think for pride and for the fans, they have to put on some kind of performance. I mean, a lot of people won't really care. It's Cardiff at home. You should win easily. Man United have to win this game for morale's sake, for going into next season on not a high note, because like I said, it's Cardiff, who are already relegated at home. For a team like Manchester United, it should be easy, but they have to have a shred of dignity and win this game. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester United. Cardiff valiantly fighting, but going down to the Championship in the end, like a lot of people did think. The next game, Southampton versus Huddersfield. Huddersfield, they are, they put in a good performance against Manchester United, and they took advantage of a very weak Ole Gunnar Solskjaer side. I think Southampton are actually going to get the better of them here and send them down with a 2-0 win. Not much more I can say really about the Southampton-Huddersfield game. I think it's going to be one to miss. Not really a lot going on in this one. Tottenham versus Everton. I think Tottenham are going to try and get this win. Obviously, I don't know how the Ajax tie turned out. That's happening tonight at time of recording. They could be through to the finals. They could be out of the Champions League, and this be their final hurrah. And I'm going to go for them to beat Everton. Had Arsenal still been in with a shout of the top 4, or Man United still been in the shout of the top 4, I'd be tempted to put a draw for this game, because Everton have been playing exceptionally well. Tottenham's form has actually been awful. It's been really bad. I think they've won or drawn 1 of the last 6 and lost all the others. They keep losing. Their away form is dreadful, but they are at home here. Although they lost to West Ham, I'm hoping for them at least that they'll be hoping that they can make a comeback and get this win. So I'll go for a 2-1 win to Tottenham, but it would not surprise me if Everton get a result here. That would have meant a lot more had Arsenal, Man United still been vying for those top 4 finishes. But yeah, not a great end to the season for Tottenham in the Premier League at least, and I don't know how it's gone in the Champions League for them. The final game, Watford versus West Ham. Watford have fought valiantly this season. West Ham have been really picking up some form lately, getting into the top half as a lot of people would expect. Watford just falling short of the pace compared to the likes of Wolves, who have kept it up all throughout the season to get to the 7th spot that they're in. I'm going to go for a Watford win here, another 2-1. Not entirely sure. It could go either way. It could be a 2-1 either way, but I'm going for a 2-1 finish here. So that is going to do it for the Week 38 video. I think the next video on the channel will be a reaction to not only Week 38, but my Premier League predictions for the season as a whole. So leave a like if you're excited for that. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss it. And yeah, that's going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.